Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got another little tutorial for you, and we're going to be concentrating on cricket, an obsession with cryptic crossword setters. I'm not quite sure why. Well, I do know why. It's because you can get lots of lovely abbreviations out of the game of cricket. But if you're not British and you've no idea, or you're not interested in cricket, then it can be, an extra layer of complexity in a cryptic crossword that you could do without. So today's edition, I'm going to try and explain a little bit about what to look out for and what are cricket terms and what their abbreviations are. And then we'll do a cryptic crossword set by the fantastic Melanie Branton, who, if you're familiar with the channel, you'll be familiar with her work. But she's actually set a crossword that just uses cricket terms. So it'll help us get lots of practice and see where cricket terms are used in cryptic crosswords. Now, what is cricket? Cricket is it's got a lot of parallels, I think, with cryptic crosswords, and there's seemingly, when you watch someone play or do one, it seems like there are a whole set of unwritten rules that you have no idea about, and it can be very confusing for the spectator. I think it's safe to say that. And in fact, there's a fantastic video. I'll put a link to it, and I'll show a little screenshot of it here somewhere. But I'll put a link to this video if you. It's a fantastic little sketch of a foreigner's view of what it's like watching cricket. I think it's one of the funniest videos you'll ever watch on YouTube. But basically, what is cricket? Well, I asked ChatGPT to explain cricket in 3 sentences, so let me just read that for a start. So cricket is a bat and ball sport played between 2 teams of 11 players on a large field with a 22-yard pitch in the centre. One team bats and tries to score what are called runs or points by hitting the ball and running between 2 sets of wooden stumps. These are sometimes called wickets, while the other team bowls and fields to stop runs and get batters out. The teams switch roles after a set number of overs. I'll explain what overs are later, or when all the batters are out, and the team with the most runs wins. There you go. Straightforward, isn't it? There's so many little bits and pieces to cricket that when you're watching it, it can be completely overwhelming. But from a cryptic point of view, the reason setters like cricket is because you have to keep score in cricket, and there's a lot of lots of things that are accounted for in cricket, like the number of runs a batter scores, how they actually lose, how a batter is out. There's different ways of getting a batter out in cricket. They can be caught. Yeah, the ball can hit their wicket, their stumps. That's called a wicket. It can hit their leg and stop. If it hits their leg and it stops the ball from hitting the wicket, then they're out a different way. It's called leg before wicket. And all these things are abbreviated and logged in a scorecard. So remember, to use abbreviations in cryptic crosswords, they have to exist already in the dictionary. So cricket provides a wealth of abbreviations that are used, that can be used in cryptics. So let's talk about some of those now. Here are some extremely common abbreviations that are used in cryptic crossword clues. We have batting can be coded as in, and bowled can be coded as B. So when you're bowled in cricket, that's literally when the bowler propels the ball towards the wicket and the batsman fails to stop it hitting the wicket and it hits the wicket. That is termed as bowled. So that would be recorded in the scorecard as B. Caught can be C. You'll see caught an awful lot in cryptic crosswords. A century is also a C. That's more a Roman numeral thing, isn't it? Then we have a duck, which is an O. Now, what is a duck? Well, when a batsman goes in, if he doesn't score any runs before he loses his wicket, then he's said to have scored a duck, and it's recorded as an O in the scorecard. So therefore, you can use it as an O. An innings is basically a time when the whole team, a bit like in baseball, I think you have innings as well. It's the set of time when the whole team will bat once. That can be abbreviated to an I. Then we have a maiden. Now, what is a maiden? Well, before I explain what a maiden is, let me explain what an over is. Let's go to the over here. An over is a set number of deliveries. So remember, you got 2 batsmen on the field, and then you have someone who bowls the ball at the batsman. Now, they get 6 balls to throw at a batsman before they have to change ends. And each 6 deliveries of the ball is called an over. Now, what's a maiden? Well, a maiden is an over where the batsmen haven't been able to score any runs. So that's a maiden over. Then we have no ball. This is when an illegal bowling of the ball by the bowler. That can be recorded as NB. Not out can be NO. So when they get to the end of the innings, when you need to have two batsmen on the pitch at any one time, but if there's a case where you get to the end and the bowling team bowls out everyone, but there's one batsman left and he's said to be not out because he can't continue playing, but he hasn't been out. Then we have a run, which is when you run between the two wickets. That's what scores the points in cricket. And then we have a wicket, which is another name for the stumps. So that's all lovely and confusing, isn't it? But these are the main abbreviations you will find in a cryptic crossword. There are many more, and sometimes there's even sort of references to things that can happen in cricket. But I think if you can learn these ones, then this will take you a long way in solving cryptics in terms of how often cricket is used. So with that explained, and I'll put some links to maybe if you want to learn more about the wonderful world of cricket, I'll put some links in the video description and you can go and check all those out and lots more abbreviations and everything else. With all that said, let's get on with the crossword, and a lot of these things will pop out in the crossword itself. Melanie's prepared a fantastic crossword for us today, so I'm really looking forward to having a go at this. I'll put a link to this also in the video description. But as you can see, it's a I think 11 by 11 crossword, so plenty of clues to go through. So let's see how we get on, will we? Cool, let's get started. So with one across, we have run before English caught a quiet summary. So you are, if you're paying attention, we have run is straight out of cricket, and also caught is also straight out of cricket. They're usually abbreviated to a C and an R. So where do you think the definition is here? Probably at this end then, because the wordplay looks like it's going to be here. So we have run before English caught a quiet. So run can be abbreviated to an R, and that's coming before English. English can be abbreviated to an E. Caught is abbreviated to a C. Then we have the letter A that just goes straight into the answer. And quiet is very often coded as P, because that can be piano in music to mean soft or quiet. So if we put all that together, we get the RECAP. We get recap, which is a summary. See? Cool. Nice one. That's a nice clue. 7 across. Regularly silly and cunning. Well, what's happening there? I don't see any cricket references. They're not every single clue is going to have a cricket reference, but here we can talk about this clue as well. Regularly. When you see regularly in a cryptic crossword, that means take the alternate letters of the word. They could be the odd letters or the even letters. It varies. So we're looking at alternate letters of silly, and the whole thing will mean cunning. So look, the alternate letters of silly are S, L, and Y. That gives us sly, doesn't it? That'll mean cunning. Nice. Okay, 9 across, a very long clue here. Let's see what we got. Cricket ground not in a skating rink is where the US president works. Or 6. I'm feeling where the US president works is probably the definition here. We're looking at maybe the White House. That doesn't fit. Oval Office, I'm thinking. So, cricket ground. Now, there's some famous cricket grounds in England, and one of them is called the Oval. So, I'm pretty sure that's what this is. Cricket ground here is oval. And then not in a skating rink. Well, another way of describing not being in a skating rink would be if you were off ice. Or you could even say not in could be off, could you? Maybe? No, I think off ice is a better way of looking at this. So we get oval, off ice, the Oval Office where the president works. Nice. So sort of a cricket term there, but it's more, you need to know a little bit of general knowledge in terms of the famous cricket grounds. There's two main ones, the Oval and Lords are the two sort of classic ones that would come up with a cryptic. Let's go 10 across. Caught at American A&E, provide food. Well, now we all know what caught means, don't we? It's this letter C here, so we know there's a letter C at the beginning of this. At American A&E, provide food. Provide food, I think, is the definition. At, I think, remember, there are no superfluous words in a cryptic crossword, so at, I reckon, is going straight into the answer. An American A&E, so American, in the UK we call it A&E, accident and emergency. Although I've noticed recently it's starting to be called ED, Emergency Department. But in America it's called the ER, isn't it? Emergency Room. So we put the ER after the CAT and we get cater, which means to provide food. Nice. What do we try next? We'll try 11 across. Run, little Edward, the communist. Well, run, straight out of cricket. That could be an R. Little Edward, I suppose, is Ed, isn't it? And the communist is the definition here. We got a red. We try these downs. Now see, we literally got the whole word here. So let's just see what one down is. Run over, caught king in Gibraltar, perhaps. So run, straight out of cricket. Over, straight out of cricket. So that's the R and the O. Caught, also straight out of cricket. And then king can be abbreviated to K or an R, depending. So it's a K in this case because it's referring to Gibraltar, which is known as the Rock, isn't it? Sometimes the Rock of Gibraltar in the south of Spain. Lovely. Right, 3 down. Old China caught at famously literary Welsh border town. So does this mean Old China or does it mean Welsh border town? Let me see. Well, we got caught again. That's going to be a C, isn't it? At. Similar how we cater, we got caught and at. So I think this is where the wordplay starts here, caught. Famously literary Welsh border town. I think that's Hay. So we put that with that, and we get Cathay, which is the ancient old word for China, isn't it? The old word for China, Cathay. Nice clue there. Okay, 5 down. Chess celebrity we hear, one who acts in adult films. Chess celebrity we hear. Well, we hear is usually a homophone indicator. Oh, so this is going to be, okay, so one who acts in adult films is going to be a porn star, isn't it? But I think the homophone that Melanie's going for there is pawn star, like P-A-W-N, like a chess. You could describe someone who plays chess as a pawn star, maybe. That's funny. That's a nice clue. Cool. All right, 6 down. On holiday, finish and commit crime. What's happening there? Okay, if you're on holiday, I think you're off. And finish can be end. So we put those together. This is like a what do you call it? Like a Lego clue or what do you call those clues? This is like a Lego clue or a charade clue. So you put the off with the end, and we get offend, which means commit crime. There's the definition, commit crime. Nice. Let's try 7 down. Caught, run, observed around the outside before 50, providing terrible handwriting. Right. We have our friends caught and run again. I don't think you're ever going to mistake those again in a cryptic, are you? So we got C and R. Observed around the outside. So that means a word for observed is around the outside of caught and run, I think. Before 50. And 50 is a Roman numeral, but we can abbreviate or code as, and that's the L, isn't it? So if we put a word for observed would be saw. So let's put saw around the C and the R, and then have the L at the end. That's terrible handwriting, would be described as a scroll, wouldn't it? Lovely. Right, 8 down. Church abandons faulty tower star for the dregs. Well, church can be abbreviated to a C or a CE. Now, Faulty Towers is, for those of you who don't know, is a sitcom from the 70s in the UK, and the star of that was a guy called John Cleese. So I think what we're doing is we're taking CE out of Cleese. His name is spelled C-L-E-E-S-E. So we're taking the CE away from that, and we're going to end up with Lees, which means dregs, which is not a word I'm familiar with to mean dregs, actually, Lees. I think it's right based on the wordplay. We'll find out when we get to the end of the puzzle, will we? Cool. Let's try 13 across now. Run in comfort and rub out. Now, what is run can be abbreviated as an R. In comfort, comfort could be ease. So this means rub out, doesn't it? So we put the R inside, so it's a container clue. R inside ease gives us erase. Cool. 15 across. Was taking run in conflicts. So this is literally the word was, taking or containing the R of run, like an abbreviation, and it will give us a word meaning conflicts. So that's going to be wars, isn't it? Nice. 16 across. No wicket immediately. Now, wicket can be abbreviated to a W, can't it? We know that now. No is going straight into the answer. So immediately is now. There we are. 15 across. What a nice puzzle this is, isn't it? 15 across. Wicket, yes, for the road. Now, wicket can be abbreviated as a W, can't it? So we'll put that here. Yes, I think maybe is, this means road. The definition here is road. So I think this is way. So it must be I. Yes, can be I, can't it? And I. Nice. 18 across. To Doctor of Divinity, the French run a small child. Right, we have run in here, so I reckon there's an R. The French, when you see this, this usually means use the French version of the, which is le or la. So it's going to end in L-E-R, this word. It's going to mean a small child, and if you look at what we got already, this is toddler, isn't it? So how does that work? We've got 2 from here. Doctor Divinity is a DD. Then we have the le from the French and run, a small child. Cool. 15 down. Wicket entirely extra for an Australian mammal. So we have wicket here. I'm trying to think of an Australian mammal. This is going to be the definition, because for usually is like a link word between the wordplay and the definition. So an Australian mammal is going to be a wallaby, isn't it? I think this is a wallaby. Now, how does that work? We have wicket is the W, entirely is all, and then extra. Okay, extra here is a bye. So a bye in cricket is when you get when something happens and the batsman hasn't really hit the ball, but the ball, for some reason, I don't understand all the rules of cricket, but for some reason, maybe it comes off his leg instead of his bat, and it wasn't going to hit the wicket, and it runs. He can then run off that, or can run over the rope on the boundary, and he can get some byes. You can get some extra points. So that's what a bye is. They're called extras. There's a few different ways of getting an extra run in cricket. Like if the bowler doesn't bowl a proper ball, or if he bowls it too wide, or the bye, you can get extra points. But anyway, we've got wallaby. 20 across. Pale wicket article. I had this before. Remember I mentioned in a previous video about articles, what they mean. It's going to be literally the definite or indefinite articles. So it's going to be a, an, or the. So wicket, remember, is going to be a W here. This is going to mean pale. So what article are we thinking here? An. So we got one. We mean pale. We try 14 down. A rabbit, perhaps. A rabbit, perhaps. I was thinking Roger. Roger Rabbit. But I don't understand why. Could be Roger, couldn't it? Let's try 22 across, see what that is. November over before artist creates Ibsen heroine. Right. November can be abbreviated to an N. Over, as we know, can be abbreviated to an O. See how over is such a useful word for setters, because you can disguise it. I mean, over could also, in a down clue, over can mean refer to a placement. You know, if you got something over something, it means this word before this one. So it's quite useful, over. But I think this is NO before artist, and artist is very often abbreviated to RA for Royal Academician, so someone who's a member of the Royal Academy. So an Ibsen heroine, I'm not 100% sure, but I think we have Nora here, which means Roger is not right. So a rabbit perhaps could be, oh, it must be rodent. Rodent. is our rabbit perhaps, isn't it? Cool. Let's try 21 across. Caught leg before auditory organs and finds not guilty. Okay, caught, C. Leg can be abbreviated to an L, as we found out. Auditory organs are ears. And we end up with clears, meaning if you find someone not guilty, they're clears. You clear them, don't you? 12 down, let's go there. Pitch line in action got smaller. I didn't really mention this in the intro, but in the middle of the pitch, there's a 22-yard. In the middle of the field, there's a 22-yard pitch, and it has some lines drawn on them. And one of the lines is they're called creases. I don't know why either. So we're talking crease here. We have crease in action. Action is very often deed in a cryptic. So we have crease inside deed here. We're going to get decreased, which means got smaller. If I can type this correctly. There we go. Decreased. That's a nice clue on it. 20 down. Commonly have a desire for wicket with girl. Well, we have wicket with girl, I think is a wordplay here. So we got the W. Now we need a girl, and girl's name, like Anna. Oh, it is Anna, because commonly have a desire. This is Melanie's way of saying, no, not a sort of more of a slang way of saying want to. You wanna is a common way of saying it. So wanna. Nice clue there. 27 across. Regulation governing a type of 25 across we hear is local government legislation. 25 across I haven't got yet. But I think I can get it from what we got already. 2, 3. This is bylaw. Bylaw. So that means I think 25 across. Because I talked already about buys, didn't I? I think maybe 25 across is referring to a buy of some description. I think. But it's definitely local government registration, could be called a bylaw. So regulation is law following a type of 25 across. So 25 across must be an extra, maybe. Well, let's go to 25 across. Buys, wides, and no balls, for example, for actors and crowd scenes. Yeah, that's it. So we have double definition here. These are all extras in cricket, and these are an extra is a name of an actor, a non-speaking extra person in the background, isn't it? So these are extras. Cool. 19 down. The beginning of where a film actor works. So this is a double definition. This is onset. So the beginning of is the onset, and where a film actor works is onset. Nice. 28 across. Caught a leg in the outskirts of Sunderland and hurt with hot water. Okay. Caught, C. A leg is going to be A-L. So we got C-A-L in the outskirts of Sunderland. This is a nice bit of wordplay. So what does the outskirts of Sunderland mean? Well, it's referring to the word Sunderland. The outskirts of a word would be the first and last letter, the outer layers of the word. So S and D. So within S and D, we put the C, the A, and the L, and we get scald, meaning hurt with hot water. Lovely. 3 clues left. We'll solve them if we just do 2 clues. Let's see. 23 down. Type of whale, overrun, caught, article. Okay. Overrun is O-R. Caught is a C. And article is A. Orca, type of whale. Right, well, I won't fill this in. I'll go for each of them and then we'll work it out. 24 down. Run, Australian, leg for Spanish man. Okay, so run is R, isn't it? As we know. Australian could be AU. And leg is an L. So this is going to be Raul, name of a Spanish man. So 26 across is Q. What's the thing? Caught the European Union going backwards, being prompt. Okay. Caught is a C. The European Union can be abbreviated to EU, but we're putting that backwards to get UE. And it means a prompt. When you give someone a Q as a prompt. How have we done? Fantastic. We got there. That was brilliant. As they would say in cricket. How's that? Which is when they appeal to the umpire, who's the referee in cricket, to see if the bowler has managed to take the wicket of a of a batsman. I say there's a lot to cricket. There really is. Hopefully, at least from an abbreviation point of view, now you're familiar with a few more of the abbreviations used by setters that are cricket related. Hope you enjoyed that. Massive thanks again to Melanie for allowing me to use her crosswords. I think they're really helpful for these types of video, aren't they? What we would like to do now is I want to tell you about the live stream. So we're approaching the end of filling the Cryptic Mystic live stream crossword, and this week's word of the week is dab. Dab, a nice short little word there, but I'm sure the creative viewers of this channel can come up with a fantastic cryptic crossword clue for that. So if you feel up for it, send me a crossword clue to my email address there, and I'll feature it in the live stream on Sunday at 8 PM UK time. We'll have a vote on clue of the week, and if you win, you'll get into the Cryptic Mystics crossword that we're making on mycrossword.co.uk. But big thanks again to Melanie. Thank you for watching. Thanks to crosshair.org as well, who hosts Melanie's crosswords. Fantastic site. Check that out too. And I will see you next time. Okay, thanks. Bye.